Yang Lin was one of the greatest geniuses in the school, until after the death of his adoptive parents his grades plummeted and he was humiliated by everyone, being sent to the worst class in the school. But no one imagined that at that very moment his memories of a past life were awakening. In truth, Yang Lin was Chu Tianming, a powerful cultivator who had reached the pinnacle before reincarnating. Now with his powers returning, he begins to discover that his parents' deaths were not an accident. As he faces assassins, gangs, and even the mayor's son, Yang Lin grows increasingly stronger and manages to gather evidence of a massive conspiracy. But he still has to fulfill a promise, prove that he can rank first in the school, and when the results are finally released. Yang Lin really scores 747 points and ranks first, but the teacher who bet against him still tries to escape the debt. At Junction No. 3 High School in Class 1 of the senior year, the teacher announces the results of the second mock exam. Qin Lian scored 732 points, ranking first in the entire school. The classmates are impressed. One boy comments that she is the school's beauty as well as its top student, a true goddess. Another wonders how she managed it, since the questions were at the level of the college entrance examination. A female classmate concludes that Qin Lian will definitely get the highest score in the district on the college entrance exam. The teacher praises Qin Lian and asks her to keep it up. Qin Lian thanks her. Meanwhile, Yang Lin has his head lowered, feeling a sudden dizziness. He thinks to himself that this is happening again, the dizziness and headaches that have been appearing lately, and wonders what is happening to him. The teacher then announces Yang Lin's result, 250 points, the lowest score in the class. The entire classroom reacts in shock. One student questions how someone from the advanced class could get such a low score, implying that he must have guessed all the answers. Another mocks him, saying that with such a score, Yang Lin would even rank last in Class 19, the worst class in the school. A third is confused, remembering that Yang Lin used to rank first in the entire school, and implies that he must have cheated on the previous exams. Qin Lian looks at him with concern and calls his name. The teacher then reveals that even before the results were released, she had already spoken with the academic administration and a decision had been made. She announces that due to Yang Lin's consistently poor performance on the exams, the administration has decided to transfer him to Class 19. Yang Lin is shocked by the news. The teacher orders him not to participate in evening study sessions there anymore, and tells him to pack his things and go directly to Class 19. Yang Lin thinks that being sent to Class 19 means the school has completely given up on him. He remembers that everyone knows that class is essentially a dumping ground created by the school, intended for students with no chance of passing the college entrance exam, left to fend for themselves. He has heard that the students there are constantly fighting and even smoke openly in the classroom. One classmate questions whether the punishment is too harsh, considering it was only a mock exam. The teacher agrees inwardly, admitting that even the school's administration had initially opposed the arrangement. But she reveals the real reason. Yang Lin made the mistake of offending Lin Xiaoguang, whose father is the mayor of Jiangxin, and her husband works directly under him. Because of her husband's career, she says she has to sacrifice Yang Lin and asks him not to blame her for it. The teacher then announces the next result. Lin Xiaoguang scored 701 points, ranking second in the school. She asks the class to applaud the class monitor, Lin Xiaoguang. The teacher tells everyone to follow Lin Xiaoguang's example, and the class enthusiastically applauds him. Lin Xiaoguang approaches Yang Lin and asks with a malicious smile what is wrong, whether he is upset, whether he cried, and comments that he has bitten his own lip until it bled. Yang Lin tells him to get out of his way, saying that his affairs are none of his business. Lin Xiaoguang taunts him, saying that Yang Lin shouldn't speak to him like that, since he is only concerned about his well-being. He continues, saying that even though Yang Lin is about to leave the class, he feels that, as the class monitor, it is his duty to give him some advice before he goes. Lin Xiaoguang then attacks where it hurts most. He asks if Yang Lin gave up on studying because of his parents' deaths and adds that dead is dead, that it is no big deal, and that even if they were still alive, Yang Lin would continue to be trash, living at the bottom of society unlike him, who was born as the only son of the mayor, a true nobleman of high society. He then asks how Yang Lin dares compete with him for Qin Lian, saying he doesn't understand what she sees in him. Lin Xiaoguang warns him to know his place, stay away from her from now on, and behave himself, making it clear that he is nothing but trash. Finally, he pats Yang Lin on the shoulders and says with a laugh that he shouldn't give up on himself, that he should keep working hard even in Class 19, and that he should remember the advice he just received. Yang Lin walks away in silence, but inside he is filled with uncontrollable rage. Suddenly, he turns around and charges at Lin Xiaoguang, saying that he is looking for death. Yang Lin tries to land a punch, but thinks desperately to himself that his head is spinning and hurting terribly, and that he barely has the strength to fight. Lin Xiaoguang easily catches his fist and mockingly asks if he can't handle hearing a few truths. Effortlessly, Lin Xiaoguang overpowers him, calling him weak and trash for trying to fight when he doesn't even have the strength to do so. He then stands up and shouts to the entire class that everyone saw Yang Lin attack him first and that they need to be his witnesses, insisting that it was nothing more than self-defense. He doesn't stop humiliating the protagonist. Qin Lian shouts to the teacher that she needs to make Lin Xiaoguang stop immediately. The teacher hesitates, thinking to herself that the little tyrant has gone too far this time, but if she intervenes now and angers him, her husband's job could be at stake. She then decides to walk very slowly toward the two of them. thinking that this way Yang Lin will still take a few more blows before she pretends to break up the fight. As he is beaten, Yang Lin feels his head spinning more and more, the pain becoming unbearable as if his mind is about to explode, and he feels that he won't be able to endure much longer. Distant voices repeatedly call out Chu Tianming as Yang Lin sinks into the depths of dark water. Yang Lin asks who this Chu Tianming is, and another voice desperately screams for him to wake up. Suddenly, Yang Lin awakens, his eyes wide open. He finally remembers everything. That name was his own. His true name is Chu Tianming. He remembers that he was originally a cultivator who fought against the heavens, the earth, everything that existed, challenging the cosmos itself, until he reached the absolute pinnacle of cultivation and underwent the immortal tribulation. However, at the very moment of his ascension, when he was at his weakest, he was surrounded by an endless army of enemies. On the verge of death, with both his physical body and cultivation destroyed, he used a secret technique to protect his true soul and reincarnated. His memories were sealed during the process, gradually unlocking as he grew. After being reborn, his new name became Yang Lin. With his memories completely restored, Yang Lin's gaze changes completely. He grabs Lin Xiaoguang by the leg and effortlessly lifts him into the air, leaving him hanging upside down. Lin Xiaoguang screams, demanding to be released, calling him trash and angrily shouting that a mere commoner dares to touch him. Teacher Zhang screams, asking what he thinks he is doing, and demands that he release Lin Xiaoguang immediately. Yang Lin looks at her with disdain and says that she certainly knows how to suck up to whoever benefits her, adding that he is ashamed to have her as his homeroom teacher. The teacher feels a chill when she meets his gaze and falls to the ground, realizing that Yang Lin's entire presence has suddenly changed. With a cold smile, he says that since she asked, he will release Lin Xiaoguang right now. And he lets go, causing him to crash heavily onto the floor. Lin Xiaoguang groans in pain, calling for the teacher. She catches him and, through tears, orders Yang Lin to go to class 19 immediately, warning him that this isn't over yet. Yang Lin silently agrees to go to class 19 but demands that teacher Zhang make a bet with him first. She asks what kind of bet he means. He points directly at her and proposes. If he ranks first in the entire school on the next mock exam, teacher Zhang must resign, but if he fails, he will voluntarily leave the school himself. Then he asks if she accepts the deal. The classmates are left speechless, asking if the stakes are really that high. One of them comments that the boy has gone crazy, completely lost his mind, questioning how he could possibly make up so much lost ground in such a short time. Another concludes that no matter how you look at the bet, Yang Lin has absolutely no chance of winning. Teacher Zhang bursts into laughter, calling it ridiculous, and asks how he dares make such a bold claim. Lin Xiaoguang mocks him, asking if he still thinks he's the genius he used to be, questioning how someone who just ranked last in his class now wants to become the top student in the entire school, and joking that he might as well climb straight into the heavens. Yang Lin calmly thinks that without cultivation, she sees him as a frog at the bottom of a well admiring the moon, but if she were to cultivate, she would see him as a mayfly gazing at the boundless sky. He adds that once this venerable one regains her strength, ascending to the heavens will be child's play. He then looks at her and says he will only ask once, does teacher Zhang accept the deal or not? She laughs even louder, saying of course she accepts, that the whole thing only makes her laugh, and asks what gives him the right to be so arrogant and spout such nonsense. The bell rings. Yang Lin picks up his backpack and turns to leave, warning that since teacher Zhang accepted the bet, she had better not regret it later. She crosses her arms and wonders if she regret it, then warns him not to come crying and begging for forgiveness when the time comes. Qin Lian runs after him, calling his name and asking him to wait. Lin Xiaoguang watches the scene angrily, wondering what kind of love potion that bastard Yang Lin gave Qin Lian. Yang Lin walks out of the school building, surrounded by the other students. He thinks to himself about this whole reincarnation business, and decides that in this life, this venerable one will keep everything firmly under her control. Qin Lian catches up with him and asks if he wants to go home with her since they are heading in the same direction. Ignoring her, he continues walking. She asks why he is treating her like this. Meanwhile, Lin Xiaoguang leans against his sports car on the street waiting. He calls over a lackey and points at a young man farther ahead, ordering him to run the boy over with the car, promising that if he does it, the vehicle will be his. Lin Xiaoguang thinks to himself that Yang Lin really does have a good academic foundation, and that to make absolutely sure, it would be better to simply destroy him now. The henchman hesitates, asking if young Master Lin is really sure that this is safe. Lin Xiaoguang reassures him, asking what he is afraid of and reminding him that he has forgotten who his father is. He assures him that nothing will be traced back to them and that everything will simply be recorded as an accident. The henchman agrees, relieved, and promises that he will leave that boy paralyzed from the waist down. He accelerates the car, his eyes gleaming with malice, ready to attack. Yang Lin walks calmly across the crosswalk, completely unaware of what is about to happen. The car accelerates, its tires screeching against the road. The white Porsche comes barreling toward the protagonist at full speed. Qin Lian screams desperately, warning Yang Lin to watch out. He turns around at the last moment, startled to see the car coming straight at him. His expression instantly changes, becoming cold and sharp. A powerful blue energy erupts around him, and he remarks disdainfully that this is like a mayfly trying to shake a tree, overestimating its own strength. With a simple movement of his fingers, he releases the energy toward the vehicle. The henchman inside the car feels a brutal impact, being violently shaken without understanding what is happening. The car begins spinning out of control, looking like a top. Lin Xiaoguang sees his own car coming straight toward him, while his friend panics and tells him to get out of the way. Lin screams in panic for the car not to come any closer. The vehicle crashes straight into the spoiled brat, causing an explosion of smoke. Qin Lian runs over to Yang Lin asking if he is okay. He replies that he is fine. She asks what that was all about. Yang Lin brushes it off, suggesting that perhaps the driver wanted to show off his driving skills and ended up getting what he deserved. But deep down, he feels as though his body has been completely drained without any strength left. He realizes that in order to deal with the speeding car, he was forced to use a secret technique to stimulate the maximum potential of his current body. And just as he feared, that was still too much for his current mortal and fragile body. His vision goes dark and he collapses to the ground, his backpack falling beside him. Qin Lian screams his name and desperately runs toward him. It is already night. Yang Lin finally begins to regain consciousness. A male silhouette leans over him and asks with relief if he has finally woken up and whether he is all right. Yang Lin replies that he is fine, then asks the man, whom he calls Uncle Zhu, who brought him to the hospital. Uncle Zhu says with a smile that it was his little girlfriend who brought him there, but that she has already left. He adds that she was genuinely worried, so anxious that she almost cried. Yang Lin asks Uncle Zhu not to talk nonsense, clarifying that he and Qin Lian are just classmates. Uncle Zhu laughs and says all right, that he will not interfere in the young people's love life. He tells Yang Lin that since he is fine, he needs to go to his night shift, and informs him that he has already covered the medical expenses for now. Yang Lin thinks about Uncle Zhu. He moved into the apartment across from his a year ago, bringing along his 3-year-old daughter. He heard that Uncle Zhu had been betrayed by his own wife, who not only left him with nothing but also abandoned their daughter in his care. Yang Lin reflects that he too has had a difficult life. He then thinks about himself in this life. He was abandoned before he was even 100 days old until his adoptive parents took him in. Even though they were not his biological parents, they always treated him like their own son, giving him the best childhood, love, and education. But 3 months ago, they died in a car accident, and that he realizes was why his grades had dropped so drastically. Lying in the hospital bed, Yang Lin thinks that his current body is still far too weak. He concludes that in order to change the situation, he must become stronger as soon as possible. Footsteps approach from the hospital corridor. A nurse announces that it is time to change the dressing of the patient in bed 8. She asks him to turn around so she can change it. Yang Lin agrees. Suddenly, he senses that something is wrong, an alarm going off in his mind. His eyes narrow as he senses murderous intent coming toward him. The nurse lunges at him with a knife, attempting to stab him, but Yang Lin manages to dodge in time. She comments in surprise that he managed to evade her and observes that the boy is rather unusual. Yang Lin demands to know who she really is and why she is trying to kill him. She coldly replies that a man who is about to die does not need to know so much and lunges forward again with the blade. Yang Lin thinks that this is an emergency and that he does not have time to become stronger slowly. He decides that he has no choice but to begin cultivating by force, directly purifying his marrow and meridians to temper his physical body. He reflects that even though he died and was reborn as Yang Lin, his status as an immortal remains, and his immortal powers also came with him into this reincarnation. Unfortunately, in a realm as low-level as Earth, he cannot use those powers freely, and relying solely on his own strength, purifying his marrow and meridians by himself would probably be impossible. The nurse lunges forward and angrily asks what he means by that, warning that cheap tricks will only make him die faster. While defending himself with blue energy in his hands, Yang Lin decides to use her own attacks against his body, thinking that he will simply use the external blows she delivers to temper his physique. She delivers a high and precise kick. Meanwhile, Yang Lin feels that the plan is working. Being pushed to his limit is forcing his body to break through its own barriers. He blocks the attack even with his eyes closed. She's stunned, thinking that it cannot be a coincidence, wondering how he managed to block the attack like that. She attacks again with another kick, and once again he manages to block it. The nurse, incredulous, demands to know how he keeps defending himself every time. While grabbing the nurse's leg, he says that he has to thank her for this. Finally, he throws her against the wall. Confused and furious, she asks if he's trying to thank her by mocking her. Enraged, she curses at him, saying that he dares to make fun of her and warns that he has truly angered her now. She gets back up, admitting that the boy is a little strange, but swearing that this ends here. She then pulls out a hidden weapon. Pointing the revolver at him, she asks whether no matter how fast his reflexes are, he can really be faster than a bullet. She fires. At that moment, Yang Lin's eyes glow intensely and he manages to dodge the shot. The nurse's eyes widen in shock, unable to understand how that is possible, feeling the impact of the energy coursing through her body. Yang Lin observes that she really does have a firearm, concluding that she is not an ordinary person. He wonders whether she belongs to the criminal underworld or works for the government, and questions why someone like that would be after him. Still shocked but unwilling to give up, she screams that it could only have been luck and that she refuses to believe he can dodge again. She fires repeatedly at him. Yang Lin throws himself backward through the window, shattering the glass and falling from the building. As he falls, he thinks that it makes no sense for him to have enemies, since he's just an ordinary high school student with no reason whatsoever to be anyone's target. But then he grabs onto a nearby pole, slowing his fall, and realizes that if someone is trying to silence him, there can only be one possible explanation. As soon as he lands safely on the ground, he thinks to himself that his adoptive parents' deaths were not an accident. Yang Lin realizes that he has just forcibly purified his marrow using external energy and that his condition is unstable. He decides that he needs to leave first and that he will investigate everything carefully once his cultivation base has recovered. Surrounded by an explosion of blue energy, he disappears from the scene at high speed. Back in the hospital room, the nurse mutters that her cover has been blown. On the phone, a voice on the other end curses at her, calling her useless trash and questioning how she could not even complete such a simple task. She defends herself, asking them not to rush her and saying that she had not finished explaining. The target jumped from the building. She reminds them that it was the 7th floor and that unless a miracle happened, he should already be dead. But then she looks down and gasps, screaming in shock that he has disappeared, unable to understand what is happening. The scene changes to the classroom sign, Senior Class 19. Inside the classroom, complete chaos reigns, with students playing cards, throwing basketballs, and shouting without any discipline. Yang Lin reflects that his pure physical strength, flexibility, neural reflexes, explosiveness, endurance, memory, and eyesight now far surpass those of an ordinary person. He concludes that it all turned out to be a blessing in disguise, and that purifying his meridians and marrow was a success. However, he realizes there is a problem. The spiritual energy in this world is far too weak, and this body is still extremely fragile. He recognizes that forcibly purifying his marrow like that has caused the magical power carried over from his previous life to become unstable. That energy is now running uncontrollably through his limbs and bones, and he knows that if he does not find a way to suppress it soon, he risks exploding and dying at any moment. A big-built boy in the classroom notices his arrival and mockingly asks if he has entered the wrong classroom. Looking closer, the boy recognizes him, asking if he is not Yang Lin, the one who used to be ranked first in the school until his grades suddenly plummeted. Yang Lin confirms it, saying that he was just expelled from his previous class and sent there. The boy introduces himself as Manhwa and explains that since there are so few students in the class, Yang Lin can choose any empty seat. Yang Lin is surprised, asking if he can really choose any seat without the teacher assigning them. Manhwa laughs and explains that after all, this is class 19. Besides being able to sit wherever he wants during class, even if he simply does not show up, nobody will care. He reveals that there is a low wall at the back of the school, and all he has to do is show up to mark his attendance and then escape over it without anyone noticing. He continues talking, warning Yang Lin that he will see for himself when class begins. Surely no more than 10 students will show up. He says that aside from the homeroom teacher, none of the other subject teachers even bother to show up. They simply hand out a few tests and call it independent study, laughing at the situation and cursing that damn school. Yang Lin is about to take his materials out of his backpack when someone calls for him to go outside. He turns around and sees Chin Layan standing at the door, which catches him by surprise. Inside the classroom, the classmates are completely stunned, wondering if their eyes are playing tricks on them, since that is none other than the school's beauty, Chin Layan, and questioning what she could possibly be doing in class 19. One of them notices that she called out a specific name and becomes curious about who she is looking for. As Yang Lin walks outside with her, the students are shocked to realize that Chin Layan, the girl who makes countless boys sigh and countless girls wish they could get plastic surgery, came all the way there specifically looking for him. Manhwa, smoking while leaning against the wall, laments, asking why he cannot be that lucky monster named Yang Lin. A young man appears casually reclining over the desks, and thinks to himself that Yang Lin is precisely the target young Master Lin hired him to teach a lesson. In the hallway, Chin Layan tells Yang Lin that she is just relieved that he is okay, and comments in surprise that he seems to have grown quite a bit. Yang Lin asks, surprised, whether he really has grown, thinking to himself that it is the result of purifying his marrow and meridians, and is impressed by how observant the girl is. Chin Layan then hands him a notebook, saying that they are her study notes for all the subjects, and asks him to take them with him since they might be useful. Yang Lin remains silent, simply watching her. She runs away embarrassed without saying anything else. Back in class 19, heavy footsteps approach Yang Lin. Wang Hai stares at Yang Lin and asks if he is the so-called Yang Lin. Yang Lin asks who he is. Manhwa quietly explains that this is Wang Hai, a kind of small-time tyrant at the school, known for extorting and blackmailing other students. Wang Hai demands that the newcomer bring him 1,000 yuan by tomorrow. He threatens him, saying that otherwise. He shouts that he will cripple Yang Lin, raising his fist in the air with a threatening smile, his hand resting on Yang Lin's shoulder. Yang Lin, his gaze cold, orders him curtly to take his hand off. Wang Hai is confused, unable to understand the audacity of that new kid. Yang Lin repeats himself even more firmly, ordering him to get that filthy hand off him. Furious, Wang Hai shouts that he is really asking for death and promises to break Yang Lin's nose with that punch. Yang Lin dodges the first punch, reacting with impressive speed. He thinks to himself that after purifying his marrow and meridians, his physical constitution has undergone a qualitative change, and that he only intended to dodge a little but ended up moving much farther than expected. He realizes that he still hasn't fully adapted to this current body. Determined to control himself better, he thinks about testing how precisely he can regulate his own strength. He delivers a precise kick, striking Wang Hai and sending him flying through the air. Furious, Wang Hai curses under his breath, unable to understand what is happening. Yang Lin, still in the air, comments with satisfaction that he is gradually adapting to this body. Then he lands a knee strike on the little bully's back. Wang Hai shouts that Yang Lin is playing with him and challenges him to stop running away and fight him head-on if he has the courage. Yang Lin observes curiously that he knows his name and asks who sent him to cause trouble for him. He reflects that logically there is no reason for any hostility between him and this Wang Hai, meaning someone must be pulling the strings behind all of this. Wang Hai is on the ground, extremely furious and hurling insults at the protagonist. But he is soon pressured again. He wonders how someone with that physical build can possess so much strength. Holding Wang Hai's head, Yang Lin asks once again who sent him. Terrified, Wang Hai thinks to himself that he was told that kid was just some weakling, wondering how he can be so strong, considering that he himself is over 2 meters tall and is being tossed around like a toy. He denies it, stammering that nobody sent him and that he only thought Yang Lin would be an easy target to extort. But deep down, he thinks he would never dare betray young Master Lin, since offending Yang Lin would only mean taking a beating, while offending Lin Xiaoguang could cost him his life without anyone ever knowing how he died. He reflects that having stayed close to Lin Xiaoguang for some time, he knows exactly what kind of person he is and that the forces supporting him are terrifying. Yang Lin smiles and says that in that case he's sorry, but he won't ask the same question a third time. He presses the bully's face into the ground. The impact makes Wang Hai spit blood from his mouth as he lies on the ground, groaning in pain. Yang Lin calmly comments that even without him saying anything, he can already guess who sent him. He picks up Wang Hai's phone, which shows a message on the screen from young Master Lin, asking whether he has already dealt with that bastard Yang Lin. Yang Lin reads the message with a sarcastic smile, commenting that, as expected, young Master Lin really was behind all of this. A girl watching the scene whispers in amazement that Yang Lin looks incredibly handsome at that moment, while Wang Hai remains sprawled on the ground, defeat. The classmates gather around Wang Hai, who is lying on the ground, and happily comment that he really got beaten badly, remembering how he always used his size to intimidate everyone and how much they had suffered at his hands. Another classmate agrees, saying that they finally got to see that bastard receive the punishment he deserved, laughing and saying that it was extremely satisfying. One classmate is impressed, saying that Yang Lin is truly fierce and asks Yanhua what they should do. Yanhua takes a drag from his cigarette and suggests that everyone go over there and take a closer look, since this show is far too good to miss. He calls the others to follow him, and the whole class gets up excitedly to watch the commotion, while Wang Hai remains lying on the classroom floor. The scene shifts to the sign of Class 1 of the senior year, the elite class. It is time for evening study. Lin Xiaoguang is sitting with his leg bandaged and supported by crutches, still recovering from the car accident, repeatedly checking his phone. He grumbles irritably, asking what Wang Hai is doing and why he isn't answering his messages. Suddenly, his phone begins ringing loudly during study hall with a conspicuous melody that draws everyone's attention. Embarrassed, Lin Xiaoguang apologizes to his classmates, saying that he forgot to put his phone on silent. A voice then comments mockingly that young Master Lin's ringtone is quite cute. Lin Xiaoguang recognizes that voice immediately, and his face turns to shock. Yang Lin appears in front of him, and Lin Xiaoguang demands to know what he is doing there, since he should be in class 19 at that time. Lin Xiaoguang thinks to himself, relieved, concluding that the kid must have been beaten by Wang Hai, and enraged came there seeking revenge. He laughs inwardly, thinking that Yang Lin will only humiliate himself even further by coming to him. He points at Yang Lin and warns him to understand his place, saying that trash like him belongs in a trash can like class 19. He calls him a miserable peasant who reeks of poverty, someone who only dirties this young master's eyes, and orders him to get lost. Yang Lin calmly simply replies, "Is that so?" He then asks how a supposed noble like him knows someone like Wang Hai, who came straight from the trash can. Lin Xiaoguang nervously denies everything, claiming that he has no idea what Yang Lin is talking about and asking who this Wang Hai person even is. He boasts that he's not only the class monitor of the elite class, but also the second-ranked student in the school and the mayor's only son, and that unlike Yang Lin, everyone knows his name. Yang Lin smiles and asks whether he really doesn't know what he's talking about. He then raises the phone in his hand and reveals that it is Wang Hai's phone. On the screen, a call is in progress to the contact saved as young Master Lin, proving beyond a doubt that the two are connected. Stunned, Lin Xiaoguang begins humming nonsense, desperately trying to disguise what is happening and escape the situation. Yang Lin asks with a mocking smile whether he understands the message now young Master Lin. Lin Xiaoguang stammers, unable to formulate a response. The surrounding classmates begin taunting him, shouting that he needs to be man enough to take responsibility for his own actions and asking what he's so afraid of. Another insists that if he really did it, he should admit it already instead of hiding like a turtle inside its shell, questioning whether he is really a man. The pressure increases as the entire class surrounds Lin Xiaoguang, demanding that he openly confess. Someone mocks him, suggesting that he must be a coward and that if nobody believes him, they should force him to take off his pants to prove it. Panicking, Lin Xiaoguang thinks that things are getting bad and that he urgently needs to find Zhang Hongxin to get him out of this mess. At that moment, teacher Zhang enters the classroom, irritated, asking why there is so much noise during evening study. She walks past the students while shouting and asking what Yang Lin thinks he is doing there. Relieved to see her, Lin Xiaoguang begs her to finally do something and teach Yang Lin a lesson. Yang Lin smiles, saying that her arrival is perfect and that he will take the opportunity to collect a little interest as well. With a quick motion, he strikes the heel of teacher Zhang's shoe, completely breaking it. She screams, losing her balance and falling forward uncontrollably. As she falls, she accidentally pulls Lin Xiaoguang's pants down in the process, completely exposing him in front of the entire class. Lin Xiaoguang screams desperately, asking what teacher Zhang thinks she is doing. He mutters in shock that everything is over, that his reputation has been destroyed forever, and wonders how he will ever be able to show his face at school again after this. The classmates burst into laughter, openly mocking his size and saying that it barely reaches the size of a pinky finger. One of them even mocks him, saying that, fine, Lin Xiaoguang proved what he needed to prove, but with that size he might as well be considered a woman, laughing non-stop. Yang Lin walks away, casually commenting that he really didn't expect teacher Zhang and Lin Xiaoguang to have that kind of relationship, and sarcastically says that he won't interrupt the elegant atmosphere between the two of them anymore. Teacher Zhang desperately tries to explain herself to Lin Xiaoguang, but he has already stormed away in fury. She thinks in despair that she is doomed, that she has completely offended that little tyrant, and that her husband's chances of getting promoted have just gone up in smoke. Lin Xiaoguang alone swears through gritted teeth that Yang Lin will pay twice over for that humiliation, and that between the two of them this will only end when one of them is dead. At night, Yang Lin walks across campus, thinking that he needs to find a way to contain the uncontrolled energy coursing through his body as soon as possible, and that the solution would be to prepare a special pill. But he recognizes a problem. The materials needed to prepare this pill are all extremely expensive. Yang Lin thinks to himself that in his previous life, even though he had started cultivating from scratch, the planet where he grew up was an extremely high-level realm, where a 100-year-old ginseng was considered the lowest-grade item that existed, and he had never lacked medicinal herbs. But he recognizes that everything is different here on Earth. Even the most ordinary ginseng costs a fortune. He laments that he is now just an ordinary high school student and wonders where he is going to get that kind of money. Suddenly, a distant cry for help echoes from afar. Yang Lin turns around, alert. He realizes that after purifying his marrow, his 5 senses have become extremely sharp, allowing him to hear sounds from up to 200 meters away. In a dark alley, a burly bald man approaches a child with a knife in his hand, speaking in a sweet yet threatening voice that it is late at night, and asking why the little boy is outside alone, inviting him to go with uncle to eat tasty food and play fun games. The child, hugging a teddy bear, cries and refuses, saying that his father warned him that people like him are bad people, and screams for his father, calling for help through his sobs. The man loses patience, cursing the child for doing nothing but cry, and grumbles that he originally intended to take him somewhere quiet to slowly cook him. But he changes his mind right there, deciding that he will cut the child's flesh into pieces on the spot, commenting with sick pleasure that judging by the child's soft and tender skin it will surely taste delicious. The moment he lunges forward with the knife, Yang Lin appears and grabs his arm with force, stopping the attack. The man is shocked, unable to understand where the young man came from. Yang Lin recognizes the child and murmurs his name in surprise. It is Uncle Zhu's son, little Zhu Yu. He reassures the boy, telling him not to be afraid, that Big Brother is here now, and asks why he is alone so late at night, questioning where Uncle Zhu is. Zhu Yu explains through tears that he was hungry and that his father took him to buy food as soon as he finished his night shift, but they accidentally got separated. Furious at being stopped, the man curses, asking where this nosy kid came from and complaining that they are acting as if he doesn't even exist. Yang Lin notices something strange. Even after purifying his marrow, with his physical condition far superior to that of an ordinary person, that brute still managed to break free from his grip. The man raises the knife again threateningly, asking whether the kid didn't hear that he was talking to him or if he was mute. Yang Lin observes his gaze and senses an intense and relentless killing intent. He reflects that in his previous life he encountered countless cruel criminals, and that the man before him carries the same brutal disregard for human life. The two exchange blows with swift kicks echoing through the alley. Yang Lin realizes that this is not an ordinary street thug, and that he may even be stronger than the nurse who attacked him earlier. He concludes that although there are no cultivators in this world, there are still a few martial artists who are genuinely powerful, and that this brute may very well be one of them. As the bald man charges forward with a flying kick, Yang Lin recognizes that with his current physical strength he would not be able to defeat him quickly. He skillfully defends against the attack, sending the rank 5 bald man flying backward. But something else worries him more. If the fight lasts too long, Zhu Yu could end up getting caught in the crossfire and injured. Yang Lin looks coldly at the criminal and says that he has killed people before and not just a few. The man is surprised, asking how he managed to realize that. The criminal then declares that in that case he definitely cannot let him live and throws a knife, boasting that he already has 32 lives on his hands and that Yang Lin is about to become the 33rd victim. Yang Lin realizes that he cannot dodge the attack because if he does, Zhu Yu could be hit. With no other choice, he decides that he needs to get serious. Determined, he decides to use his magical energy directly to defeat the man with a single blow. He silently hopes that his body can withstand the impact, fearing that he might explode and die right there. He throws a leaf into the air, which stops the knife and strikes the bald man in the shoulder. The man screams in disbelief, unable to understand how this is possible. That leaf must have been imbued with demonic mana because it pierced straight through an iron utility pole. Kneeling and bleeding, the man looks at the cut leaves scattered around and asks whether that kid is actually a disguised martial arts master, amazed that someone so young could conceal such power. Yanglin clarifies that he is not some grandmaster of martial arts and that he simply forcibly used a basic energy condensation technique. The man repeats it in confusion, trying to understand what this so-called energy condensation is. In the distance, a patrol siren approaches. Yanglin ends the fight with a precise kick, knocking the criminal down for good. He looks at the fallen body and murmurs that, as for the rest, he will leave it to the local authorities to handle on their own. He then turns to Zhu Yu, takes his little hand, and says that they are going to find Uncle Zhu now. The boy agrees, relieved. Suddenly, Yanglin senses that something is wrong. He spits blood and staggers, frightening Zhu Yu, who desperately calls his name. Yanglin realizes the problem. To defeat the criminal with a single blow and guarantee Zhu Yu's safety, he used a fraction of his magical energy. Now that energy is running wild and his chi and blood are in complete turmoil inside him. He understands that if he cannot suppress it immediately, he really will explode and die right there. With his face covered in blood, he screams in desperation, trying to contain the explosion threatening to destroy him from within. With great effort, he manages to prevent the worst, but desperately thinks that his magical energy is completely out of control and that his chi and blood are still raging chaotically. He realizes that he will not be able to suppress it for much longer, and at this rate, he will definitely explode and die before dawn. He decides that he needs to prepare pills immediately, since only by consuming an elixir could he neutralize the uncontrolled energy coursing through his body. But he runs into the same problem as before. With his current financial and material resources, he simply cannot afford the rare heavenly treasures required for alchemy. Zhu Yu, worried, tugs on his sleeve and comments that brother Yanglin looks terrible, asking if he is hungry since Zhu Yu is hungry too and suggesting that the two of them go buy something to eat. An idea suddenly comes to Yanglin's mind, a convenience store. He exclaims that he knows what to do. He calls Zhu Yu to go shopping with him and the boy happily agrees. Meanwhile, patrol sirens echo through the streets surrounding the scene of the defeated criminal. A police officer informs Captain King Liu that the man is unconscious. The captain asks whether they have already checked his identity. An officer confirms it, revealing that the man's name is Wang Bailong, a nationally wanted criminal who had fled to Jiangxin City to continue committing crimes. He explains that the authorities were about to issue a security alert when they discovered that the criminal was already there, knocked unconscious. Captain King Liu asks in confusion how a Class A wanted criminal could have been defeated by someone. An agent reports that the target's status has been confirmed secure and that they are beginning the extraction protocol, but adds that they found no weapons at the scene only. The captain demands to know what exactly. The agent explains, only a leaf deeply embedded in a utility pole. He points out that judging by the distance and angle, it is highly likely that this leaf caused the penetrating wound in Wang Bailong's shoulder. The captain repeats in disbelief, a leaf. The agent confirms that yes, he heard correctly, a leaf. The captain puts a hand to his chin, deep in thought, questioning who in the world could be capable of doing something like that. He then orders them to immediately check the nearby security cameras to find out who is capable of knocking Wang Bailong unconscious. The subordinate confirms the order. Meanwhile, Yanglin has already dropped Zhu Yu off at Uncle Zhu's house and thinks that it is now time to prepare the pills. He reflects that the resources of this world are far too scarce, and that many of the materials required for alchemy simply cannot be found here. He lights the fire beneath the cauldron in his kitchen, preparing to work with whatever he has available. Looking at the medicinal herbs he managed to buy, he realizes that even they are extremely expensive, completely beyond what he can afford at the moment. He thinks that he has found a way around it. He went to the convenience store and bought some Chinese herbs with similar medicinal properties, adapting the recipe directly into a cheap, modern version. With the herbs already inside the cauldron, he reflects that the hardest part is coming now. He needs to use his spiritual power to control the heat precisely, guiding the medicinal properties of each herb so that they fuse perfectly. A violent explosion blows the cauldron apart, sending fragments flying everywhere. Yanglin, his face covered in soot, smiles awkwardly and concludes that this is not a real alchemy furnace. He realizes that refining pills directly in an ordinary clay pot requires even more precise control over the heat. Undeterred, he decides to try again, remembering that these are just cheap products from the convenience store and that he has enough to fail as many times as necessary. Another explosion echoes through the early morning. He calms himself, repeating that he must not panic, and tries once again. Another failure. He grumbles in frustration, cursing the failure, but insists that he will try again. Sweaty and exhausted, he continues, determined not to give up. Finally, the cauldron glows with success, and Yanglin celebrates in relief that he finally did it. But he soon notices another problem. His body is in terrible condition, with his energy channels blocked, causing the magical energy inside him to continue surging out of control. He swallows the newly created pill, determined to force open his internal channels. Sitting in the lotus position, he begins to meditate, surrounded by a bright blue aura as he forcibly breaks through his blocked channels. Engulfed in flames, he screams in pain but recognizes that the pain is precisely proof that the elixir is working. After the process, he whispers in relief, success. His channels are clear, and not only have his uncontrolled energy and blood been stabilized, but his own strength seems to have increased. Around him, however, the apartment is in complete disarray with debris scattered everywhere. He recognizes that the risk of his body exploding has been resolved, at least for now, but considers that it was only a temporary suppression. As his magical energy continues to grow, his current body will probably continue to struggle to withstand it. He concludes that he still needs to find a way to make more money in the future, so he can buy higher quality herbs and refine more powerful elixirs to support his cultivation. Only then, he thinks, will he be able to cultivate in peace without these constant worries. He yawns, exhausted, commenting that he spent the entire night tossing and turning in bed, unable to sleep. Overcome by exhaustion, he eventually falls asleep on the living room sofa. On the table, his cell phone begins to ring, vibrating insistently. Chin Lian calls, desperately asking where Yang Lin is, warning that the mock exam is about to begin, questioning why he still hasn't shown up at school, whether he forgot about his bet with the teacher, and whether he really intends to drop out of school. Yang Lin wakes up with a start, realizing that he completely forgot about the appointment. He runs down the stairs. On the way, he runs into Uncle Zhu, who greets him and thanks him for everything he did for Zhu Yu the previous night. Yang Lin, in a hurry, apologizes and says that he is late for the exam and cannot talk right now. Uncle Zhu offers to drive him to school, but Yang Lin is already far away, shouting that it isn't necessary and that running is faster. Uncle Zhu is confused by the response. Surrounded by an explosion of blue energy, Yang Lin speeds toward the school at an incredible pace. He arrives at class 19, where the mock exam is already underway. To his misfortune, the person supervising the exam is none other than teacher Zhang Hongxin, and he thinks to himself, annoyed, why did it have to be her supervising the first exam? She stares at him with a sarcastic smile, teasing that here comes the great genius Yang Lin, the one who bet he would rank first in the entire grade, asking whether he lost his nerve and is too afraid to take the exam since the test is about to begin and he still hasn't entered. Yang Lin calmly replies that he remembers the school rules well. Late students are forbidden from entering the classroom 15 minutes after the exam begins. She confirms this, asking what that has to do with the situation. He then explains that he will use those exact 15 minutes to review the material and will enter as soon as the time runs out. The teacher bursts into laughter, mocking him for trying to make her laugh to death, questioning whether this last-minute studying is going a little too far. She teases him, asking how much he thinks he can review in such a short time, and suggests that he simply pack his bags and leave. As he flips through the material, Yang Lin reflects on how devastated he became after the death of his adoptive parents, combined with the constant bullying from people like Lin Xiaoguang and teacher Zhang herself, which caused his grades to plummet. But he recognizes that things are different now. He is no longer the insecure and depressed Yang Lin he once was. He thinks that since he was originally one of the top students, his foundation of knowledge is still there, and on top of that, through the purification of his marrow and meridians as well as alchemy, all of his abilities have undergone a qualitative leap. He now possesses photographic memory and can read 10 lines at once, concluding that 15 minutes are more than enough to review, almost too much time. The teacher mocks him even more, asking whether what he is doing, flipping through the pages so quickly, is what he calls reviewing, sarcastically asking if he is performing some kind of supersonic quantum reading, and telling him to stop embarrassing himself in front of everyone. She declares that he can forget about ranking first in the grade, and that if he doesn't even make the top 10, she promises to do a handstand and eat her own hat. Yang Lin, holding the review sheets, calmly declares that he has already finished reviewing. He looks at her and says that he hopes teacher Zhang remembers exactly what she just promised. 15 minutes later, he is already bent over his exam. Teacher Zhang mocks him, asking whether he couldn't answer the questions and is therefore giving up, saying that, as his former homeroom teacher, she feels ashamed to have had a student like him. Yang Lin replies that no, he has already completely finished the exam. She crosses her arms, irritated, muttering that he should keep pretending and continue with his act. During the math exam, 15 minutes later, the same thing happens. Yang Lin leaves again, leaving the teacher completely stunned, dozing lightly in his chair. During the English exam, 15 minutes later, he hands his answer sheet to the teacher, who watches him suspiciously. In another exam, 15 minutes later, he once again stands up and calmly leaves the classroom. Manhwa, stunned, questions how Yang Lin manages to finish every exam in only 15 minutes and leave early every time, calling it a true miracle. His classmate hesitantly wonders if perhaps he simply didn't answer anything and is handing in blank sheets. In the hallway, Yang Lin comes across a group standing in front of him and asks them to excuse him. One of the men asks if he is Yang Lin. Yang Lin is startled, not understanding what is happening, realizing that they are police officers. Manhwa, shocked, asks why the police are at the school, questioning whether Yang Lin committed a crime. Wang Hai, wearing a malicious smile, celebrates, saying that Yang Lin has finally gotten himself into some real trouble and that it doesn't matter how well he can fight this time. He continues teasing, saying that now it's time to see what Yang Lin can do against the police and that he is completely finished. Captain King Liu approaches and places his hand on Yang Lin's shoulder. Wang Hai steps forward, taking advantage of the opportunity to stir things up even more, thinking to himself that this way he will be able to brag about it to young Master Lin later. He reports Yang Lin to the captain, claiming that he has always intimidated his classmates, extorted money from them, beaten and insulted everyone for no reason, and begs the police to arrest him and punish him severely, whatever it is that he has done. Captain King Liu stares at Wang Hai with a piercing gaze, and he shivers, wondering why the officer is looking at him like that, fearing that he has seen through his lie. The captain asks coldly if he is saying that Yang Lin intimidates his classmates and extorts money from them. Wang Hai, failing to realize the true intention behind the question, interprets it as anger toward Yang Lin and celebrates internally, thinking that he has just hit the jackpot since once he tells young Master Lin everything, he will surely be generously rewarded. He continues his accusation, insisting that Yang Lin is a complete scoundrel and asks the officers to uphold justice for the students. The captain lets out a dry laugh. Then he bursts into open laughter, loudly and without stopping. Wang Hai is confused, unable to understand what the officer is laughing about, wondering if he has gone crazy. Yang Lin turns to Captain King Liu and asks if he believes what that man said. King Liu replies that he doesn't, questioning how he possibly could. He says that if it weren't for the security cameras, they wouldn't even have been able to track him down there. He praises Yang Lin, saying that an admirable young man like him, who bravely confronted a wanted criminal and then quietly left without seeking any recognition, could never be the kind of bully that man described. He adds with satisfaction that it is true what they say, that heroes emerge among the young, and that nowadays it is rare to find someone who possesses both such a strong sense of justice and such strength as Yang Lin. He congratulates him, saying that he did an excellent job. The captain then reveals the real reason for the visit. The wanted criminal Yang Lin captured is Wang Bailong, who is responsible for virtually every crime imaginable, including rape and robbery. There was an official reward of 500,000 for his capture, and the team is there specifically to hand that reward over to Yang Lin. Wang Hai, dumbfounded, is shocked, unable to understand how Yang Lin captured a wanted criminal and how those police officers aren't there to arrest him but rather to give him money. He mutters desperately that his plan went completely wrong and that the real clown in the story ended up being him. Yang Lin, satisfied, thinks that he really needs that money right now and that he will finally have enough resources to buy higher quality medicinal herbs to refine his pills. He then politely comments that carrying so much cash isn't very convenient and asks them to give him a card number later so the money can be transferred directly into his account. Captain King Liu agrees, and before leaving he gives Yang Lin his contact card, saying that he can contact him anytime if he needs anything. Back in the classroom, Manhwa excitedly stands up, commenting that he knew from the beginning that a good student like Yang Lin could never have committed a crime, and that he had actually turned out to be a hero who defeated a wanted criminal. The classmates surround Yang Lin, shouting in unison that he is a hero, asking him to tell them how he managed to defeat the wanted criminal, all curious to hear the details. Wang Hai, furious from a distance, grumbles, wondering how long Yang Lin has been in class 19 to have already become everyone's hero, and questions how he is supposed to intimidate the students and extort money from them now that this has happened. He decides that he needs to inform young Master Lin immediately, since he is the only one capable of dealing with Yang Lin now. The scene shifts to class 1 of the senior year. Wang Hai reports everything to Lin Xiaoguang, telling him exactly what happened. He tried to kick Yang Lin while he was down, but never expected those police officers to be there not to arrest him, but to give him money, saying that Yang Lin stole the spotlight this time. Lin Xiaoguang remains impassive, saying that it doesn't matter, that Yang Lin won't enjoy the spotlight for much longer, since his time to die is getting closer and closer. He then reveals that he has a task for Wang Hai, promising that if he can complete it, he will consider allowing him to join Skyfair. Wang Hai is shocked, recognizing that Skyfair is the largest underground gang in the entire city of Jiangxin, and excitedly thinks that if he can join them, he will be able to command respect wherever he goes. He begs Lin Xiaoguang to simply give the order, assuring him that he is willing to go through anything for him. Lin Xiaoguang begins explaining the plan, detailing step by step what Wang Hai must do. Wang Hai reacts in surprise upon hearing the details. He protests, saying that there is no way he can defeat Yang Lin in a direct fight. Lin Xiaoguang reassures him, saying that he doesn't need to worry about that, and that when the time comes, he only needs to find any excuse to start a fight with Yang Lin and he will take care of the rest himself. He asks if Wang Hai understands. Wang Hai confirms, bowing and saying that he understands. Without them noticing, Qin Lian watches everything from behind the door, worried. By late afternoon on campus, she runs toward Yang Lin, calling his name. She warns him that she just saw Lin Xiaoguang and Wang Hai talking outside the classroom and that she has a bad feeling they are plotting something against him. She then hesitantly asks if he would like her to accompany him home. Yang Lin, surprised, asks if she really wants to take him home. At that moment, a white sports car pulls up near them, catching Yang Lin's attention. He recognizes the vehicle. It is Lin Xiaoguang's car. He decides that he needs to find out exactly what he is planning. Yang Lin refuses Qin Lian's offer, saying that it isn't necessary since they aren't going in the same direction. She becomes confused by his sudden response, calling his name, unable to understand what is happening. A car stops right beside them. A man in a dark suit gets out of the vehicle, and Qin Lian is surprised to recognize that it is her own father. Her father tells her to get into the car without giving any further explanation. As Qin Lian's car drives away, Lin Xiaoguang's white Porsche accelerates down the street. Lin Xiaoguang drives determinedly, grumbling that now that he is handling the matter personally, he refuses to believe that he won't be able to finish Yang Lin off. Suddenly, he notices something in the rearview mirror, alarmed. He mutters, intrigued, wondering if it was merely his imagination, swearing that he saw a figure following him and that the silhouette looked very much like Yang Lin. Atop a streetlight pole, Yang Lin watches the car drive away, thinking that he was almost noticed. The full moon shines in the night sky. The Porsche parks in front of a brightly lit building, the Skyfair Entertainment Club. Lin Xiaoguang gets out of the car, relieved, concluding that it must have been just an illusion since he is driving a supercar and wonders who could possibly keep up with that speed. A burly man wearing sunglasses enthusiastically welcomes him, exclaiming that young Master Lin has arrived. The security guards bow, greeting him respectfully. Lin Xiaoguang asks bluntly where their boss is. The man replies that he is on the 7th floor and offers to escort him there. Hidden in the nearby shadows, Yang Lin reflects on the place. He recognizes the Skyfair Entertainment Club, remembering that the Skyfair organization is the largest underground gang in the entire city of Jiangxin. He concludes that the entertainment club is merely a front for Skyfair, which is secretly involved in all kinds of vices, prostitution, gambling, and drugs. He is surprised to realize that Lin Xiaoguang is directly involved with them. He also observes that the club operates with extreme caution, maintaining a strict membership system that prevents ordinary people from even getting inside. He realizes that if he tries to force his way in, he will certainly alert them and concludes that he needs to think of another strategy. At that moment, he realizes something. His hearing is now far beyond that of an ordinary person, and he is certain that he heard Lin Xiaoguang mention that he was going to the 7th floor. He observes the building, focusing on 2 illuminated windows high above. Yang Lin concludes that, given his current physical conditioning, climbing freely up to the 7th floor should not be much of a challenge. He leaps toward the building's wall, climbing with astonishing agility. With a precise movement, he throws himself through one of the windows, silently infiltrating the building. Hidden in the shadows of a hallway inside the club, Yang Lin watches the scene attentively. Upstairs, a henchman approaches the organization's boss, informing him that the target this time is named Yang Lin, a student from the same school as young Master Lin. He hands over a photograph and the target's home address. The boss, known as Godfather Zhang Lingjian, the powerful leader of Jiangxin's underworld, examines the information and asks if the address is in Glacier Community. Remembering that the last time Lin Xiaoguang hired him to kill someone, the victims were also from there, a couple named Yang Dashi and Xiao something. Lin Xiaoguang confirms it, casually saying that those two were just peasants, and reveals that they were actually Yang Lin's adoptive parents and that the job back then had been his own father's idea. But he adds with a cold smile that this time killing Yang Lin is entirely his own idea. Outside, hidden away, Yang Lin hears everything and feels his blood run cold. He finally understands. The death of his adoptive parents was not an accident. The car crash was completely orchestrated by the Lin family. He clenches his fists, silently swearing that he will make Lin Xiaoguang pay for it with blood. Inside the room, Lin Xiaoguang stands up, asking what they are waiting for, and tells Zhang Lingjian to leave with him. Zhang Lingjian laughs, pleased, and enthusiastically agrees. In the hallway, a shadow falls across the door, and a voice whispers that he will not let them leave unpunished this time. Suddenly, a red-haired woman approaches Yang Lin from behind, startling him as she asks who he is. She comments in confusion that she was told to attend to young Master Lin and questions why there is someone else there. She grabs Yang Lin's arm, seductively warning him to make it clear that this will cost extra. Tense, Yang Lin thinks that he almost lost his patience and revealed his position, realizing that he needs to stay calm. He decides that since he is already there, he needs to take advantage of the opportunity to gather evidence of the organization's crimes, as that would be the only way to resolve everything once and for all. With a quick and discreet gesture, he touches the woman, instantly paralyzing her. Her eyes widen in panic as she feels her entire body lock up, unable to understand why she cannot move. Yang Lin looks at her calmly and explains that she does not need to worry, as it is merely a little trick to block her movements and senses. He warns her seriously that if she does not want to die from that moment on, he will be the one asking questions and she will simply answer them. Terrified, she agrees mentally, stammering a yes in her thoughts. Yang Lin then asks directly, where is the evidence of the collusion between the Skyfair organization and the Lin family? She tremblingly replies that she does not know anything. He presses her with a needle near her eye, asking if that is really the case. Desperate, she begs him to let her go, swearing that she is merely a hostess at the club and truly knows nothing. Yang Lin pretends to pity her, commenting that it is a shame and that in that case he will have to get rid of her for good, making a threatening gesture near her face. In complete panic, she screams that although she does not know anything about the matter, that is boss Zhang's office, and the information he is looking for might be stored on his computer. Satisfied with the information, Yang Lin makes a quick gesture toward her neck, finishing the manipulation. The hostess murmurs, desperately trying to speak but unable to make a sound, wondering mentally who that man is. After some time, she was still standing there. One of their henchmen coldly informs her that young Master Lin does not need her company today and orders her to leave. She remains silent, unable to respond. The henchman impatiently shouts, asking if she did not hear him, and orders her to leave immediately, but she does not react because her body is paralyzed. Meanwhile, Yang Lin is already sitting at boss Zhang's desk, copying the files from the computer. He confirms with satisfaction that the evidence of the collusion between the Skyfair organization and the Lin family is indeed stored there. He He reflects that, with the mayor's support, those people have become so confident that they did not even bother to consider the possibility of an intrusion. Outside, the two henchmen comment to each other that the woman really was acting strangely. When they enter the boss's office, they see Yang Lin clearly sitting at the boss's desk. One of them shouts in alarm, asking what is going on since there is an intruder inside. The two rush into the room. One pulls out a knife and charges at Yang Lin, but he reacts with astonishing speed, striking the man with a knee. The other henchman becomes furious, demanding to know how that brat dares attack them, asking if he knows what the Skyfer organization actually does. Yang Lin replies, holding him by the neck, that he knows very well: murder, arson, rape, looting, committing every kind of evil imaginable. Terrified, the henchman begs him to let him go immediately now that he knows all of that. Yang Lin coldly replies that precisely because he knows all of that, he has no reason to hold back against them, calling him an idiot. He throws him with tremendous force, sending him crashing through the office wall. Outside, more henchmen hear the commotion and wonder in confusion if the boss had not just left with young Master Lin, questioning why there is so much noise coming from inside. Alarmed, they rush to investigate, fearing that if the boss discovers the mess when he returns, they will all be doomed. When they enter, they find Yang Lin standing there, surrounded by the defeated bodies of the other henchmen scattered across the floor. They shout, asking who that kid is and what he is doing in the boss's office, and decide that instead of wasting time asking questions, it would be better to simply surround him and beat him together. Yang Lin calmly cracks his knuckles and introduces himself only as an ordinary senior high school student. An explosion of combat consumes the entire building, with screams echoing through every floor as the fight spreads. In the end, Yang Lin, standing over the defeated bodies of all the henchmen, calls a contact on his phone and calmly says that he is speaking with police officer King Liu, informing him that he has evidence of the collusion between the Skyfer organization and the Lin family, and that he believes he will be interested. He asks him to come to his house later if he has time. He thinks to himself that, oh right, it seems Lin Xiaoguang and the others have already gone to his house to cause trouble. He decides that he will return home before them and beat them at their own game. In the club's hallway, the red-haired hostess watches Yang Lin walk away, still astonished, thinking that he single-handedly took down dozens of gang members while completely unarmed. She wonders how he can claim to be just an ordinary student, since no normal person could possibly do something like that, and wonders if he is even human, concluding that the Skyfer organization is probably truly finished this time. The full moon illuminates the sky over the sleeping city. Back in the neighborhood, Zhu Yu excitedly runs toward Yang Lin, shouting that brother Yang Lin is back. Yang Lin crouches down and tells him to behave, warning him that later, if he sees the police arriving, he should hand that directly to the officers, passing him a small device containing the evidence. Zhu Yu excitedly agrees. Meanwhile, Wang Hai walks through the city following the address Lin Xiaoguang provided, commenting that Yang Lin's house must be somewhere around there. He spots Yang Lin and Zhu Yu in the distance and shouts that he has found them. Noticing their approach, Yang Lin asks Zhu Yu to be a good boy and go play a little farther away for now. The boy obeys, running away from there. Yang Lin turns around, sensing their approaching presence, and murmurs that they have arrived. He recognizes him, surprised it is Wang Hai. He asks, intrigued, where Lin Xiaoguang and Zhang Lingjian are. Wang Hai charges forward, shouting that Yang Lin had better not think he is afraid, and that he came there specifically to pick a fight with him, not caring to explain the reason because he simply cannot stand looking at his face. Unfazed, Yang Lin decides that whatever, he will simply beat him up first. The sound of blows echoes throughout the city, accompanied by Wang Hai's screams of pain. Defeated and kneeling on the ground, covered in blood, he begs through tears, saying that he was wrong and that he is sorry, asking Big Brother Yang to let him go and swearing that he will never dare do something like that again. Desperate, he wonders what is going on with young Master Lin since he had promised to bring reinforcements to support him, questioning where he is. Suddenly, several white vans appear on the street and stop abruptly. A group of henchmen armed with clubs and knives gets out of the vehicles, along with Lin Xiaoguang. Relieved to see him, Wang Hai shouts his name, calling for help. He begs, saying that young Master Lin has finally arrived, and that if he had not shown up soon, that bastard Yang Lin would have beaten him to death, sobbing in pain and relief. But Lin Xiaoguang looks at him with contempt and orders him to get lost, warning him not to dirty his pants because they are Armani, a genuine designer brand, and casually kicks him away. Still lying on the ground, he shouts that young Master Lin is now there to support him, and that Yang Lin is completely finished this time, laughing hysterically. Lin Xiaoguang looks at Hai and reveals his true plan. He has already ordered the area's security cameras to be destroyed, and as soon as his men kill Yang Lin, all the blame will fall entirely on Wang Hai. He adds smugly that when that happens, all his father has to do is pull a few strings so the police will record the case merely as the result of a mutual fight between Yang Lin and Wang Hai. He then orders the henchmen to quickly surround Yang Lin, and no matter what happens, not let that brat escape. The armed men form a complete circle around Yang Lin. Lin Xiaoguang approaches, taunting Yang Lin that he is nothing but trash living at the bottom of society, and that this time he will show him the true meaning of power and authority. Yang Lin asks, staring firmly at him, if he really believes that having enough power and authority gives him the right to do whatever he wants. Lin Xiaoguang confirms it, boasting that he possesses power and authority and therefore can do absolutely anything he desires. He taps his finger against Lin's chest, acting superior. He adds with a laugh that Yang Lin can only resign himself to being crushed by him with no choice in the matter. Yang Lin calmly repeats power and authority. With a swift movement, he breaks Lin Xiaoguang's finger. He screams in pain, desperate. Yang Lin coldly declares that power and authority are absolutely worthless in the face of absolute strength. Enraged and humiliated, Lin Xiaoguang screams at the henchmen, asking why they are just standing there, demanding that they kill him immediately and tear him apart, promising 100,000 yuan to whoever manages to kill him. The thugs advance smiling, with one of them shouting that no one should dispute his arm because he wants that part all to himself, while another claims the legs, mocking the rookie for daring to talk big about strength and saying he is literally digging his own grave. Yang Lin raises his hands with a confident smile. Lin Xiaoguang sneers, saying that he is completely surrounded now and asks what trick he's going to pull this time, ordering them to cut off his limbs first since he intends to personally deliver the final blow. Surrounded by blades, Yang Lin reflects that even before his memories of his past life awakened, Lin Xiaoguang had already oppressed him relentlessly, and now he wants to cripple and kill him once and for all. With determination in his eyes, he decides that today he will destroy him for good. He stomps his foot hard against the ground. The impact spreads out in an explosion of energy, cracking the ground and sending all the surrounding thugs flying through the air, screaming in panic. Zhang, still standing, stares at the scene in complete shock, unable to understand how this is possible. Lin Xiaoguang shouts at Boss Zhang, asking why he's just standing there, and demands that he call for reinforcements immediately. Zhang confirms, stammering that he will call for reinforcements right away, since one thing the Skyfer organization never lacks is heavy hitters. But back in the destroyed office, the phone keeps ringing without anyone answering, since all the thugs are defeated and scattered across the floor. Zhang keeps shouting into the phone, cursing and asking why nobody is answering, demanding that they respond immediately. At the organization's headquarters, the red-haired hostess finally approaches the phone that refuses to stop ringing. She answers, asking who is on the other end of the line. Relieved, Zhang thanks the heavens that someone finally answered, saying that he is in trouble and asking her to urgently inform everyone at headquarters too. At that moment, Lin Xiaoguang interrupts him, warning that Yang Lin should not get carried away since knowing how to fight means nothing because he is still just a person. He adds that Yang Lin should have understood by now, that is the true power of authority. On the other end of the line, Zhang hears the response and shouts in shock, asking what she said, whether the entire Skyfer organization headquarters had been destroyed, whether everyone had been taken down, and what else had happened. His eyes widen as he incredulously asks whether that boy really claimed to be just an ordinary high school student, wondering how that could possibly be true. Zhang stammers hesitantly, muttering that he hopes it is not what he thinks it is. He slowly turns toward Yang Lin and asks in total shock, was he the one who destroyed the Skyfer organization's headquarters? Yang Lin smiles mockingly and asks if Boss Zhang is surprised, as though he did not expect this. Zhang drops to his knees, desperately muttering that it is all over, that everything has come to an end. Lin Xiaoguang, still in disbelief, shouts that this is a disgrace, that in the end they are nothing more than a pathetic underground gang, completely useless. Lin Xiaoguang, already defeated, admits that Yang Lin has won this time, acknowledging his defeat, but he warns that this is not over yet, and that he will not leave Yang Lin alone. Yang Lin laughs and comments that he really never gives up until he is in the grave. Lin Xiaoguang, trying to maintain his composure, provokes him by asking who he thinks he is trying to intimidate, saying that just because he managed to beat up some Skyfer thugs means nothing, since he is completely different. His father is Lin Jiali, the mayor of Jiangxin, the man who truly runs that city. He calls Yang Lin trash from the bottom of society, doubting that he would really dare to. Yang Lin interrupts him by punching the beta squarely in the face, sending blood spraying everywhere. He continues with contempt, asking whether someone who runs the city is nothing more than a frog at the bottom of a well who thinks he owns the sky. He calls him useless trash living off his father and warns that he will beat him right there, challenging him to fight back if he has the courage. Lin Xiaoguang, terrified, stammers, unable to form complete sentences. Yang Lin lands another direct blow, blood flying through the air, leaving Lin Xiaoguang completely at his mercy. Yang Lin reveals that he already has evidence of the collusion between his father and the Skyfer organization, and warns that not even the mayor will be able to escape this time. He continues seriously, money, status, authority, everything Lin Xiaoguang has always relied on will disappear in the blink of an eye, and he will become nothing more than a street rat that everyone wants to see dead. Looking into his eyes, Lin Xiaoguang realizes that Yang Lin is serious and, terrified, wonders if the Lin family is really finished. He desperately denies it to himself, swearing that he will not let that happen. He begs, stammering, Yang Lin, they are classmates after all, there is no need to take things this far. He asks him to let him go and leave the Lin family alone, admitting that he knows he was wrong, that he truly knows he was wrong. Yang Lin responds firmly, no, he does not know that he was wrong. He only knows that he is finished. He throws him from side to side, slamming him against the ground, just like what Hulk did to Loki. A police car approaches from down the street. Yang Lin thinks that Officer King Liu has brought his men there and decides to leave the cleanup to him. Now he thinks it is time to avenge his parents. He leaps from pole to pole, speeding toward his next destination. At the scene, a police officer informs Captain King Liu that all the gang members involved in the incident have been arrested. He orders them to take everyone back to the police station, praising them for their good work, but remains puzzled, wondering why members of the Skyfair organization would appear directly beneath Yang Lin's building. At that moment, Zhu Yu approaches him, handing him a small device and explains that Brother Yang told her to give it to the officer. King Liu realizes that this was no mere coincidence. His eyes widen with concern as he concludes that Yang Lin must have gone to the Lin family's mansion. He orders them to quickly assemble a squad and follow him to the Lin residence. As he runs, he thinks to himself that the police have been secretly investigating Lin Jiali for a long time, and that he is not as simple a person as he appears. Worried, he hopes that nothing happens to Yang Lin. The scene shifts to the Lin family mansion. A butler answers the phone and confirms, saying only understood. He approaches the patriarch, informing him that he has just received a call saying that the young master got involved in a gang fight and was taken to the police station. Lin Jiali, the mayor of Jiangxin, rises furiously, demanding to know what he just said. He orders the butler to stop standing around and rush to the police station to get Xiaoguang released. The butler bows obediently, confirming that he will leave immediately. Alone, Lin Jiali grumbles furiously, wondering who would dare lay a hand on his son in the middle of Jiangxin territory. Yang Lin responds from the shadows. What admirable authority that is, Mayor Lin, allowing your precious son to oppress innocent citizens while forbidding anyone else from teaching him a lesson. Lin Jiali is startled, demanding to know who he is and how he managed to enter his house. Furious, he wonders how that brat managed to infiltrate the mansion without being detected, and questions whether the security guards he hired are nothing more than a bunch of useless freeloaders. Yang Lin steps forward, holding up a photograph, and asks if he still recognizes those two people, Yang Dashi and Xiao Sume, his adoptive parents. Lin Jiali frowns and replies that he has no idea what he is talking about, claiming to have no memory of them whatsoever. Yang Lin repeats incredulously, no memory whatsoever. Lin Jiali laughs mockingly, saying that judging by his appearance, he must be just another brat from the poor districts, carrying a disgusting and miserable stench. He adds that his adoptive parents were certainly just ordinary people, and that as mayor he has a million matters to deal with every day, making it impossible for him to remember every single one of them. Furious, Yang Lin retorts, no memory. He ordered the Skyfair organization to assassinate them, and he still has the audacity to say that he does not even remember them. Lin Jiali falls silent, stunned. Trying to remember, he murmurs hesitantly, asking whether those two people they are talking about were from the Glacier community. Yang Lin replies sarcastically, "Oh, so Mayor Lin finally remembers." Lin Jiali bursts into hysterical laughter, denying it and saying that Yang Lin is mistaken. Laughing non-stop, he admits that he secretly killed so many people in that place that it would be impossible to remember exactly who he eliminated. He continues explaining casually. He had wanted that old rundown neighborhood demolished by force for a long time so he could build new commercial buildings and profit from it. But many of the miserable farmers living there complained that the compensation offered was too low and refused to leave. With no other choice, he says, he had to secretly order the Skyfair organization to take care of all of them. Yang Lin calmly takes out a pen and says that Mayor Lin really is an important figure, confessing the truth so easily like that, and wonders whether human lives truly mean nothing in his eyes. Lin Jiali then notices something in Yang Lin's hand and asks in alarm whether it is a voice recorder, realizing that this unexpected visit did not catch him unprepared. Yang Lin confirms. The evidence of his collusion with the Skyfair organization should already be in the police's hands right now, and combined with this recording he has in his hand, it is only a matter of time before he pays the price. Lin Jiali is shocked, thinking in terror that the boy managed to gather evidence of even his collusion with Skyfair. He tries to calm himself, telling himself that this is impossible. The Skyfair organization has always operated with the utmost secrecy, and its ranks are heavily protected by experts, making it inconceivable that some random brat could catch them off. He concludes that the boy must be bluffing, and that once he gets rid of him, everything will be resolved. Yang Lin then declares that before the police come to arrest him, Mayor Lin, he leaps forward with his fist raised, warning that he will beat him severely first to comfort the souls of his adoptive parents in heaven. Lin Jiali smiles confidently, asking if he really thinks he can. He arrogantly warns that Yang Lin is still too young and inexperienced, and that since he came all the way there, he should not even think about walking out that door alive. A gun is pressed against the back of Yang Lin's head. Recognizing the voice, he murmurs, "It's you." Turning around, he faces the red-haired nurse who had already tried to kill him before, and says that Lin Jiali has quite some nerve, considering he kept insisting the entire time that he did not remember his adoptive parents. He continues, revealing that not only did Lin Jiali kill them, but he also sent that same assassin disguised as a nurse to try to kill him. Lin Jiali, elated, explains that Xiao Heng was the one who helped him reach his current position, and that whether Yang Lin knew the truth about his adoptive parents' tragic deaths or not, keeping him alive had always represented a constant threat. He laughs satisfactorily, saying that Yang Lin managed to escape last time, but today he walked straight to his doorstep, saving him a lot of trouble, and he laughs delightedly at his own good fortune. He orders them to take him down. The assassin confirms, ready to act. She fires at Yang Lin, but he easily dodges. She reacts in surprise, charging at him in intense hand-to-hand combat. She thinks impressed that his movements are far too fast and that he seems to have become even stronger since their previous confrontation. With a precise strike, Yang Lin hits her squarely, sending her flying. She thinks in panic that she does not even have enough strength to defend herself, completely unable to keep up with his movements. Yang Lin grabs her by the neck in midair, completely overpowering her. Terrified, she wonders how that boy managed to grow to such a terrifying level in such a short time. With a final strike, he hurls her forcefully into the ground, the impact cracking the floor around her. Lin Jiali, witnessing everything in shock, mutters that he is not a man but a complete monster. Yang Lin calmly walks toward him and asks whether he should call him confident or simply stupid, reminding him that she already failed to kill him the last time he sent her, and questioning what makes him think she would succeed now. Lin Jiali, in complete panic, shouts that he is the mayor of Jiangxin, that no one can touch him, and begs to talk, offering wealth, status, or women, promising to give Yang Lin anything he wants. Yang Lin replies coldly that there is absolutely nothing to talk about, that all he wants is to avenge his adoptive parents. He throws a flaming punch, shouting that this revenge is all that matters, nothing else. At the exact moment Yang Lin's flaming fist is about to strike Lin Jiali, a voice shouts, "Stop." King Liu bursts into the room with his gun drawn, and Yang Lin's punch stops in midair, just a few inches from Lin Jiali's face. King Liu warns, "Yang Lin, I know you're furious right now, but please calm down." Yang Lin retorts, staring at him, "Officer King Liu, I don't think it makes much sense to point a gun at someone while telling that person to calm down, does it?" King Liu laughs awkwardly, holstering his weapon, and apologizes, "My bad, occupational hazard, just hand him over to us. Trust me, he'll receive the punishment he deserves." Only then, taking advantage of the police's arrival, Lin Jiali desperately shouts, "Captain King Liu, save me. This brat is trespassing on my property, arrest him immediately." King Liu steps forward and replies coldly, "Are you telling me how to do my job?" Lin Jiali reacts in shock at the response. Furious, he shouts, "King Liu, have you lost your mind? You're nothing more than a mere police captain. How dare you speak to me like that?" King Liu raises a document and declares, "Lin Jiali, drop this act of authority. You're already halfway into the grave." He continues without giving him a chance to respond, "We already have concrete evidence of your collusion with the Skyfer organization, and this is an arrest warrant approved by our superiors. Don't resist, or you'll only bring more suffering upon yourself." Lin Jiali collapses to his knees, gasping for breath in complete silence. He murmurs in defeat, "It's over, it's all over. The Lin family is completely ruined." Yang Lin approaches and hands a small recorder to King Liu, saying, "Inside is Lin Jiali's own confession, admitting with his own mouth that he ordered the murder of my adoptive parents. I'll leave the rest in your hands." He turns around and begins walking away. King Liu calls out to him, "Wait a moment, Yang Lin." He continues, "You made an enormous contribution this time, helping dismantle the dark forces of corrupt officials in collusion with criminals. A VIP wishes to meet you." Yang Lin asks curiously, "A VIP?" Footsteps approach and a well-dressed man appears before him. He introduces himself, saying, "So you're Yang Lin, I hear my daughter mention you quite often. Seeing you in person now, it's true what they say, a hero emerges from youth." King Liu makes the introductions. "Yang Lin, allow me to introduce you. This is Mr. Qin Bailey, chairman of the city's municipal council." Yang Lin reflects in surprise as he looks at him. Qin Bailey, Qin Lian's father. The scene changes to the city's central hospital already at night. Wang Hong, Lin Xiaoguang's mother, runs desperately down the hallway, repeatedly shouting, "Xiaoguang, Xiaoguang." The butler merely watches the scene in silence. He informs Mrs. Wang Hong that the doctor determined that the young master's nasal bone had suffered a severe impact and was fractured. He adds worriedly that even though the bone was successfully reset, it could still affect his daily life in the future. Furious, Wang Hong turns toward her son, who is still bandaged in bed, and demands to know which bastard beat him like that. Lin Xiaoguang, groaning in pain, tearfully begs his mother to get justice for him. In another hallway, King Liu walks determinedly alongside his subordinates, demanding to know who authorized Lin Xiaoguang's release. One of the officers explains nervously, saying they didn't know Mayor Lin was already under investigation at the time, and when his butler came to pay the bail, they didn't dare stop him. As they approach the room, Wang Hong spots King Liu arriving and exclaims in relief that it's a good thing he finally came. She rushes toward him and demands furiously, "Tell me who did this. Whoever hurt my son will pay with blood." Without hesitation, King Liu raises his hand and slaps her hard. She falls to the floor in shock, screaming, "You disgusting police officer, how dare you hit me? Do you know who my husband is?" King Liu raises a document and retorts, "I'm hitting you because you're a shrew assaulting a law enforcement officer. Take her in for questioning." He adds seriously, "And Lin Xiaoguang is suspected of colluding with the gang. Take him as well." The officers drag her down the hallway as she screams and struggles. Let me go, my husband is Lin Jiali. If you dare lay a hand on me and my son, he won't let you get away with this." From the room, still bandaged, Lin Xiaoguang shouts in support of his mother, "That's right, my father is Lin Jiali. He's the mayor of Jiangxin. You miserable cops can't touch us." On television, a news broadcast interrupts the programming with breaking news. Junkson's mayor Lin Jiali has colluded with the underground criminal organization Skyfair and is suspected of corruption, bribery, and contract murder, committing serious violations of the law, and his arrest has already been approved by the police. The station promises to continue following the case with further updates. Wang Hong, now kneeling on the floor as the officers drag her away, murmurs in shock, How could this have happened? Back in the hospital bed, Lin Xiaoguang stares at the ceiling, stunned, and whispers, "What Yang Lin said earlier, it was all true." He then screams in complete denial, "No, I'm the mayor's only son, a noble young master of high society. I don't want to go to prison. I don't want to become a street rat hunted down and beaten by everyone. No." King Liu looks back coldly and orders his men, "Take them both away." The scene changes to Jiangxin No. 3 High School. A group of students gathers excitedly, exclaiming, "The mock exam results have been released, let's check them out." Amid the crowd, teacher Zhang Hongxin forces her way through, shouting, "Move aside. I'm a teacher, everyone make room." She stops in front of the results board, her eyes scanning the list as she murmurs, "He's not here, still not here." She frowns in confusion, thinking, "That's strange. I've already searched backward from the very bottom and counted more than 100 names, so why haven't I found Yang Lin's name yet?" She suddenly stops, her eyes widening as she whispers, "Wait, could it be?" The board displays the ranking for the third mock exam of the senior year. First place, Yang Lin with a total score of 747. Second place, Qin Lian with 733. Third place is listed directly below. Teacher Zhang's eyes widen in complete shock as she screams internally, "First place. He actually got first place in the entire school. How is that possible?" Yang Lin approaches from behind her and asks with a calm smile, "Teacher Zhang, do you still remember that bet we made?" She reacts in shock, unable to hide the panic on her face. Internally, she curses, "Damn it." Trying to escape, she turns around and hurriedly says, "What are you talking about? I still have a class to teach this morning, I need to go." She thinks to herself, trying to convince herself, Yang Lin is nothing more than a student. As long as I firmly deny everything and refuse to resign, what could he possibly do to me? Yang Lin intercepts her, gripping her wrist tightly, and says, "Wait a second, did I say you could leave? Zhang Hongxin, are you trying to play dumb with me?" She screams, trying to break free, "Let go, Yang Lin, let me go, you're a student and I'm a teacher. Respect your teachers and their teachings, understand?" Yang Lin replies coldly, "Respect my teachers, you don't deserve that." At that moment, a deep voice interrupts the scene. "It's almost time for class. Why are all of you gathered here making a mess instead of going to your classrooms?" The students around them whisper in recognition, "It's the principal." Zhang Hongxin takes advantage of his arrival and runs over to the principal, shouting, "Principal, it's this Yang Lin. He's a student from the worst class, class 19, and he's causing trouble here." She continues indignantly, "Not only did he call me by my full name even though I'm his teacher, but he also resorted to physical violence and won't let me go teach my students." She thinks to herself maliciously, "Compared to a student, the principal will definitely believe me, the teacher. I'll strike first and put the blame on him, leaving the principal to deal with this Yang Lin." She continues, satisfied, "Then I'll keep feeding him this story and make the principal expel Yang Lin directly. That way, the bet automatically becomes null and void." The principal watches Yang Lin closely and comments, "Oh, so you're Yang Lin." We've reached the end of another video. Subscribe and leave a like to support the channel. Comment part 2 if you'd like a continuation. See you next time.